Before we get started, please take the time to like, add, and subscribe to our pages on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and iTunes. Also, please leave us a review. Whereas, like, I don't see the personal opinion either in here. Even the wow, like the scenery, like
Yeah, the scenery is really the only thing that could be like personal take on it.
you wander our way over, because this is Wandering Ways.
What's Bigfoot possibility?
Clink.
Clink.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Not much, man. How you doing? It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful evening. How are you?
Great. I am fantastic. It's just one of those beautiful fall days where the rain and wind decide to pick up in Billings, Montana. So there's not much going on. So that's always nice, and just getting right into it, welcoming another group of wanderers back for another wonderful week with Wandering Ways, and your host, Mark the Reverend. I think that's it, Mark the Reverend. We'll just call you that. Ranger Zach, myself, and we're here. We're excited.
I've been meaning to ask, have you gotten snow recently?
I haven't, but I've seen, like, up in the highlands, the mountains, the posts like, Red Lodge Mountains getting snow, ski season's around the corner kind of stuff.
Yeah, our football team was in Scenic Butte, Montana this weekend, and they had pictures of snow.
Yeah, I could imagine there because you're a little higher up,
and we had actually snow here this morning up at the top of the mountains around here. So it's coming.
The Cascades are also really pretty high in elevation, and people don't realize with their proximity to the coast there, they do accumulate a lot of snow.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do. But I mean, it's kind of early for snow, I think, in my opinion.
October 23rd
also was like literally 80 degrees like 4 days ago. So
right. I get you. I don't know. Snow. I like it. I don't like it. I built the Rougarou for the snow. If you're familiar with the Jeep, it's designed for the snow, and Montana, and we're going to get it this year. I feel like it's going to be a bad winter, which is good. I hope it scares all the new Texans that moved here away. I hope they say,
Actually, rumor is it's supposed to be a warm and wet winter.
Well, if that's the case, I would just imagine out here, if it's warm and wet, you're going to get a lot of more like those ice storms.
Yeah.
And that's not good. But again, you hope it sends the Texans back south.
The ice storms are honestly worse than the snowstorms.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. And it's just the slickness. That's why when we were going to school back in Oregon in 2013, 2012, 2014, when we got the big snows down in Corvallis and up through the Portland area, that ice element was really bad because it was that Oregon wet snow, and they got like 2-3 feet of it. That's another problem when you do get the ice element and it builds up the snow.
Yeah, and Oregon has a law where you can't salt the roads, so the roads are pretty bad.
Yeah, you guys get interesting over there in the winter because you also have like the small shoulders, right? Like on a lot of your roads. So when it does snow, like it makes it hard to even just drive like 2 cars down the road to pass each other because of those small shoulders when you have snow. So it's like, come on, guys, engage brain.
I mean, they didn't design our roads. We didn't think about snow. We probably thought about rain.
I mean, makes sense though. I mean, climate change has us changing it up though. Different things come in every year. So
yeah,
see what we're in for 2022, 2023 winter. But that's the come. That's the wandering ways of the future. We're in the wandering ways of the now.
What have you done anything now recently?
Yesterday I went out for a drive. I said, I'm stuck up here in the house. It was the first day of hunting season here in Montana. I was just like, I'm gonna get in the car. Jared was like, I'm just gonna be cozy and lay at home. And I was like, come on, you pussy. And he wasn't about it. So I just went for a nice little drive. I drove out to like Molt, Montana. It's like a collection of like four houses. You're not missing much.
Oh,
And it's just kind of like a dirt road, and then it links back to another dirt road. It takes you to this road and loops kind of back to Billings. So I did one of those just to get out of the house, get some fresh air, get some mud on the Jeep tires, and you know, just living the dream. But nothing big. I want to get down to Yellowstone. That's kind of the plan. And I think next weekend when Thea's here, we'll be able to do that and go to the hot springs. That's kind of like I've been itching, and with that north entrance closed, man, that kind of it's a little upsetting.
yeah, I could see that. Throwing a wrench in the old plans getting out there. But at least you're getting out and doing something, even if it is just a drive.
Yeah. I mean, I see you biking. You
Yeah,
you in the creeper van just moving around with bikes in the back.
yeah, yeah. I've done a little bit. I haven't done a whole lot. I'll be gearing up for a lot more outdoor cardio, running, biking, all that here come November, which is, I think, as the time this comes out, I think November's like in 5 days or something. It's like right around the corner. But once November hits, it's time to start gearing up the cardio, which means outdoor running. So that will be exciting. I have a new running buddy. So
Oh, you got a pal.
yeah, I got a running buddy. I'll be going like once a week with them, which will be interesting. And then, of course, on the bike. It will be cold though.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad you got a running buddy. Matt needs a gym buddy, but I'm out here with nobody in Montana because we like it that way. So go back to Texas. No. I'm excited to get into today's episode. I don't know about you, but we're kind of going over our rankings of someone else's rankings of the parks, of the national parks, our favorite parks, America's parks, the national parks. I think there's 63 of them, 64 of them, 58, something like that.
Yeah, so we're doing something a little different. This is like I would normally say this is a not top five, but it's not our top five. So
I like that. I like that way of you saying it because you take a look at these parks, you take a look at this list, and right off the top, and they rank the top 63, and this is their rankings as of October 9th, 2022. And you and I would, with our first discussions, brought up the fact that, oh yeah, these guys are from the Northwest, just based on like their top 10, their top 15, and where the parks are coming from. But it's always exciting to talk about, people travel for the winter. You have the hot parks, the hot springs, those types of elements that people look for that Christmas vacation, they'll go to the national park. So it's always fun to chat it up about the parks.
100%. So, anyways, we're jumping in. We're gonna go over. This comes from a website, and we have no affiliation. We just found it, and we thought we'd talk about it. We have no bad blood with these people. Everyone has their own gist when it comes to parks, but this comes from morethanjustparks.com.
Yeah.
So they are the ones they ranked all 63 of the parks. And they even, what I appreciate about them is they tell us how they ranked them. So they ended up doing scores, and I think they're all out of like 1 out of 10 for all of these. And they did it off of accessibility. Is this national park easy to access? They analyzed vehicle access, transportation options, proximity to major airports, lodging and accommodations, conveniences, and other signs of civilization. Second category is recreation. Recreation opportunities found within the park, like hiking, biking, boating, climbing, etc. Their third category into this is crowds. How crowded is this park? They considered the traffic crowded overlooks and trails, limited campsite accessibility lines, and etc. Fourth column in this, how they graded, is amenities. Developed amenities in the park like visitor centers, campgrounds, bathrooms, lodges, and etc. And the last column that they graded is scenery. The scenic beauty of the park, purely subjective, of course, but has to be taken into account. So honestly, it's like a mix of our top fives and our Wandering Ways reviews.
Where's the Bigfoot? You know, chance of seeing Bigfoot. I need that in there because some of our listeners need to know.
That's a valid point, that they're missing some good quality information. The chance of seeing Bigfoot.
You know, that makes or breaks the whole trip. No, I like it. I like, you got the recreation, which is a huge thing. People go to these parks, they want stuff to do. What's the, like you said, we talk about that in our breakdowns and our reviews. It's like, you're up in Glacier Park. Yeah, you're not necessarily rafting in the national park, but you're rafting around it, and you're finding those opportunities. And what are those opportunities in each park, and what is allowed? I like the crowds. That's a good one. We talk about the amenities. People are into that shit. I like a good visitor center, and I like a good historic lodge. So you can wow me with some of those. And the scenery, obviously, you have to take in that. But I mean, to me, that's that awe factor. What is magical, what is mystical. And I like the first photo they have on the website right there. Right after that's the redwoods, and that's perfect, because that scenery, that's it. Those forests, there's just something you just got to go experience if you haven't experienced them. And just exploring their webpage here a little bit too. They got a lot of information about the national parks. They have statistics, they have like crowd sizes, best times of year to visit, etc. They got all sorts of information. So definitely go check out More Than Just Parks if you're interested in traveling, because I think I will if there's some of these parks that we're going to go to.
No, 100%. Anyways, we're going to jump in. We're going to do their top 5 first. And if we have more time, we'll jump to the bottom of their list, just because, that's always fun to see what they perceive as the worst. And I'm using worst in quotation marks, because it's like, maybe they're all amazing and you have to pick a worst of all the amazing. It's still amazing type deal, right? But we'll start off, and to build suspense, we're not going to give away their number 1 right off the get-go. We'll start with their number 5. So number 5, for More Than Just Parks, their ranking with a 43 out of 50 possible score, Redwood National Park.
I like this one. It's a A+ or a B+ kind of grade. They write down the list right there. Accessibility, they give it a 9 out of 10, which I'll agree with. Recreation, 8 out of 10. Right? There's a lot to do in the Redwoods. Crowds, 7 out of 10. Okay, how is their crowds going?
I don't think that is a good rating for this park, the 7 out of 10 for crowds, if I'm being honest. Because there's not many people there in the Redwoods, and the people you do see, you can spread out pretty easy, in all honesty, to where even if you're in the more crowded areas, it's not that crowded.
Right. So that's why I'm curious, because I'm assuming crowds is a good thing here. Like I'm thinking they're saying like there's not a lot of crowds, it's easy to get around.
I think the higher the number for them, the better, the less crowded it is.
Yeah, I agree. Amenities, 10 out of 10. Yep. I think the Redwoods has it all. Scenery, 9 out of 10. Fuck, I'd drop that to a 10 out of 10 up in the Redwoods, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would too. I'm actually surprised they also put accessibility as a 9 out of 10. I think I probably would have the crowds and accessibility flip-flop, if I'm being completely honest, because the redwoods are so out there and like hard to get to by car, but like once you're there, you're there.
Yeah, but I believe their accessibility is it comes with like the fact that like are you physically able to go to the redwoods and be in the redwoods and
I mean, that's true. It's pretty easy to get around in the redwoods, but it's harder to get to it, which is why I would probably rank it lower in accessibility for that standpoint.
I see what you're saying. Yes. No, I like it. Redwoods top five. It makes my top five. Heck, I want to go back to the redwoods just because it makes me want to do an episode on the redwoods just to talk about the redwoods.
Yeah, no, I want to get back to the redwoods here.
So here's their amenities real quick. Developed amenities in the park like visitor centers, campgrounds, bathrooms, lodges. Yep. 10 out of 10.
For the redwoods, yeah, that's true. So, no, but let's move on for them. Still kind of surprising for the 63 national parks, the redwoods makes the top five. But I love it. It's in my top five.
Right.
But going into their number 4 in the rankings, coming in at a 43 out of 50. So same score as the redwoods here. Yosemite National Park.
I like it, going right down their list. Accessibility 9.5, recreation 10, crowds 3.5, amenities 10, scenery 10. So it really right here to me, it looks like it's the crowds that brings this park down.
And I'm going to agree with them.
and to the point where like that's everything else is getting the 10 stars, the accessibility, it's easy to get to. It's expensive to get to though. You always see, I think that's the like highest gas prices in America is like Yosemite National Park gas is always up there. Recreation, yes, it's a national park in California. It's got a lot to do around it. A lot of fun, I bet. I've never been. I know you've been. You've talked about how it is just one valley. It really is just one big valley that Yosemite is. So it makes sense. All the crowds are going to be in one place, but it also makes sense when it comes to the amenities that they're going to be a lot. They're going to be nice. They're going to be well prepared because they're going to see a lot of visitors. And scenery. I mean, there's a reason like Mac computers uses Yosemite as the like desk screen background.
100%. Yeah. No, I think their ratings for each of the categories are like spot on here, because the crowds is really, because it is just that one valley and it's just this one kind of road that loops in the valley. So you're almost guaranteed traffic. You're going to guarantee a lot of people. You're not guaranteed a parking spot at the visitor center. It's crowded. It's definitely a park where if you're going to it, it's an early start for you. You're getting in that park so you can get to the major points as quickly as you can to try and limit your crowds.
Well, and like you're saying, you're trying to, yeah, exactly. You're gonna do the classic wandering ways. Get there at sunrise, leave at sunset. Bring your own lunch, bring your own food, because that's how you're going to avoid the crowds. You're gonna you do your own thing and you do it away from the peak hours of others. You're going to be fine. And I think that Yosemite, I know it makes the top like visited parks. You have Smokies, you have Yellowstone, Yosemite. But I think when you look at like the per capita or per square mile, I think Yosemite probably actually hits the like they have more visitors per square mile than.
Yeah, it definitely probably the visitor density is probably highest in Yosemite. There might be some really small park that like just gets a stupid amount of people for how small it is. But I don't, that's not something people, I don't think, as far as I know, they calculate and rank that amongst that. It'd be interesting to see for sure.
Well, I like to just to point out on the more than just parks.com when you're going through these rankings here. They also have my favorite resources, right? They have the map, they have the guidebook, the facts, the places to stay. And you click on those, and they'll bring you to different aspects on their website of what they have about each park. And it's actually really nice and something Wandering Ways needs to do. No, to their website. No, we don't have a website yet. One day we hope, and we'll bring you our facts and our rankings and all that. But until then,
Yeah, until then, we will. And we will just continue moving on to their number 3. And coming in at 46 out of 50, we're going to stay on the West Coast. And this time we're going to the state of Washington with Mount Rainier National Park.
and it makes sense. I've seen more and more pictures of Mount Rainier's meadows or North Cascades meadows as well. To like recently, and I'm just like, I need to get there in like June, July, and just waste like 3-4 days up in the hills. Um, and Rainier's one of those places, and like low key, it's almost one of those places where you and I need to just say, hey, pick a weekend. Let's go waste 3 days in Rainier.
I'm totally down. I've been to Rainier once. Didn't spend a whole lot of time. It was kind of a drive-through day for us. We drove through the park, made a couple stops, but no, it was fun. It's very scenic. Kind of your classic kind of mountain park. Just it's like one mountain instead of like a bunch of mountains, which is still very, very, very cool. I think their rankings for the most part are pretty good. Accessibility is 10 out of 10. It's pretty easy to get in and around it. Recreation, 10 out of 10. There is a lot to do within that park. Crowds, 7 out of 10. I think that's spot on. The time I was there, I think 7 out of 10 is pretty accurate for the crowds there. Amenities 9 out of 10, and scenery is 10 out of 10. Scenery, it's great scenery. Amenities, I think when it comes to amenities, you might be able to argue it's got everything a park needs. So you might be able to argue a 10 out of 10.
And exactly that. Like, what is to you, amenities, right? What is needed in a park? A visitor center, a bathroom when you're camping. Are you needing the showers? Does this place not have the showers? Is that one of those kind of things? So it's really understanding that. But for us, like, we just need a camp spot, and that, to me, the amenities is good as if they have availability on their camp spots.
Yeah, that and places to fill water.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's really good. The more of those, the better. And
Yeah.
Mount Rainier, I mean, exactly kind of what you're saying and how you've experienced this park. It's kind of a drive-through park. It's kind of like, yeah, we stopped at the visitor center. It's one mountain, so like you see it. And I feel like it's one of those where it's like, get in the back country and you'll really understand why it's a national park.
Or better yet, climb it. Get to the summit.
Yeah. You I think this is when you got to have the crampons and the hiking gear and stuff to prepare for, huh?
Yeah, because I think it's the highest mountain in the lower 48.
Is it really?
I think in the lower 48, it's the highest peak.
Pikes Peak or whatever in Colorado, or whatever their tallest is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I know it's up there, but I think it's the highest Cascade Range mountain for sure.
Good thing we got Google.
Yeah, right.
No. As we talk about that, I do remember flying back from Alaska and we flew through Seattle to Salt Lake, and or no, maybe it was direct all the way to Salt Lake from Alaska. I forget how it was, but they used Mount Rainier as the uh the like point.
Yeah,
You know,
Mount Rainier is
Mhm.
14,411 feet.
Yeah.
This has Mount Whitney, but I'm pretty sure Mount Whitney is Denali. So
List of highest major summits here in the US. Here we go. Here we go. Denali.
yeah,
And then these are all Alaska, right? Mount St. Elias, Mount Foraker, Mount Bona, Mount Blackburn, Mount Sanford, Mount Fairweather, Mount Hubbard, Mount Bear, Mount Hunter, and then number 11, Mount Whitney in California.
oh, that's
And
where.
then you
Oh,
get,
I'm thinking McKinley's old, or not. Denali's old name is Mount McKinley.
yeah, so Mount Whitney is the tallest, and it's in the Sierra Nevada range in the lower 48.
Yeah,
And
that's the
then,
one in Sequoia and Kings Canyon.
but you do have there's three in Colorado that are 14, 15, 16. 17 is Mount Rainier, and Mount Rainier is the fifth largest in the lower 48.
In the lower 48.
Yeah,
Oh,
we don't even have a Montana one cracking. Uh, you have Garnett Peak 57, Wyoming, but Montana doesn't even crack the top 50, top 80, top 100 almost. Yeah, it's wild.
it's just because it's not that good, man.
Granite Peak 118. No,
Yeah.
Beartooth. No, it's interesting. No, Mount Rainier. It's definitely a park I want to get into. I want to go. Even like if you can't, I was one of those. It's one of those like, guess I'm going camping with Matt this weekend parks.
Yeah, maybe we'll go in July when they're doing their half marathon.
Oh,
Uh,
so you can do that, and you get your medal.
or you just get to run a race in a really cool place.
Did you see the
Uh,
glacier one? I sent you that one too, Cowboy.
yeah, no, I've seen all of those before.
Sign
Yes.
up.
But
Do this.
moving on with their kind of rankings, we're gonna move to number two. Uh,
Ooh, all the way up here already. Number two. Number two.
we're at their number two and coming in with a 47 out of 50. Grand Teton National Park. Accessibility 9 out of 10. Recreation 10 out of 10. Crowds 8 out of 10. Amenities 10 out of 10. Scenery 10 out of 10. I've only ever been to Tetons once. I'm gonna have to agree for the most part on the rankings here.
Yeah, I like it. I like the Tetons. They're a really cool spot. They're a cool mountain range. It's a cool park. It arguably is a part of Yellowstone when you look at the Yellowstone greater ecosystem area. And the way they have the grizzly bears and the moose and I love it as a park. I've never not seen a moose when I've gone down there. I've never not had a good time. You see the Tetons, it makes you smile. There's plenty to do, even in the national park, like kayaking and canoeing and boating on the lake. I mean, it's accessible. If you want to get into the backcountry, which is something I really want to do more of down here, I think the accessibility goes down. Crowds, it is a little bit crowded. When you look at like the Yellowstone traffic and the Teton traffic, a lot of it is the Tetons, that southern entrance of Yellowstone, West Yellowstone.
I know. I think in reality the crowds are getting worse in Grand Tetons.
Than even Yellowstone is what you're saying?
Yeah, well, I think it's trending that way. It may not be at the moment that we're recording this, but I think in a year or a couple years, I think Grand Tetons are about to really kind of blow up. I think with Yellowstone getting the flooding, that probably pushed it along more.
You're absolutely right. You'll start seeing more permits, which is a sign of that.
Yeah.
You'll see and you're just seeing the growth in the Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Utah area of like kind of what goes to that park on a regular basis. You're seeing the population growth there. And when you do look at the park, when you look at Yellowstone, the busiest entrances really are your southern and your west.
Mhm.
And there's a reason there's 4 or 5 lanes at each one. You know what I mean? Like the north, yeah, it's busy, but that's just you just get the Bozeman traffic, but you really don't out of that east side get that. They kind of come up from Salt Lake, do the loop of Tetons, Yellowstone, and they're out that west side to the
Yeah.
next park, and you really get that. But I like the Tetons. I need to go back again. Like I'm trying to. I just like the shit thing is there's not a lot of people that like to just go camping like you and Matt and I do. Where it's just like,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, let's just fucking pitch a tent out here and call it good. And so I'm stuck out here in Montana by myself, and it's like, do I really want to go to the Tetons? Do I really want to go to bear country like that by myself? And it's like, well, yeah, but no, at the same time too.
No, I mean, sometimes you just got to do it, or otherwise you'll never do it. Um, kind of mentality when it comes to like anything. I tell myself that all the time. It's like either I'm gonna have to do it by myself or I'm never actually gonna do it.
No, right? I mean, you're not wrong with that mentality, but I'm just like, damn, like this is it's like you're driving 8 hours by yourself. Like it's a lot of time by yourself. You're driving 8 hours down there, you're driving 8 hours back, you're camping down there. You're like, there's nothing wrong with the camping and getting into that because that's easy to do by yourself, but it's the just like shit, like I'm gonna spend 48 hours out here. Like I'm gonna be talking to myself. I'm gonna be
Hey, someone who talks to himself all the time, even when I'm around people. And when people are like, "Are you talking to yourself?" I tell them the same thing every time. Sometimes I need to talk to the smartest person in the room,
that's fair.
and that's me. So,
That's fair. That's a good way of looking at it.
so I was kind of thinking of getting into sport fishing again, but I feel like I need a good quality net.
Well, you know what, Reverend? I got the key solution for you. Our friends at Blue Ribbon Net make this eco-friendly aquafade bag, so you're not hurting the environment. It's 100% biodegradable. Plus, the wood is locally sourced and it is also biodegradable. And it's just such a great company to use. The Blue Ribbon Nets, they're here in Bozeman, Montana. And we even have a discount code. That's right. If you use the code Rougarou10, that's right. That's my Jeep, the Rougarou. Rougarou10, Rugaru10. You're going to get some discount on a Blue Ribbon net. You can get the long one if you're fishing the big fish, or you can get just the good river one, if you're like me and just want to catch a lot of fish.
So again, make sure you go check out Blue Ribbon and use the promo code Rougarou.
Hey there, Reverend. I heard that you might be running dry on your sticker supplier.
Yeah, I've been looking around and I've kind of like run out of cool stickers to buy and put on water bottles and stuff.
Well, I mean, have you seen the stuff Josh has been coming out with lately?
No, I have not.
Well, he is doing some really cool stuff with the Shop LS 574. Yes, they're working with indigenous communities and making some really cool stickers. He has a really cool Buffalo Mountain sticker. There's even water bottles, hats, sweatshirts, the whole swag. And we even got a discount code for you guys. Yes, if you use Wandering Ways at Shop LS 574, you're going to be getting a discount on your next purchase. But not only that, you're going to be giving a percentage of that sale to the Little Shell Tribe, as well as they donate $1 of every sale to murdered and missing Indigenous women. So just such a cool thing going on there. You use the code Wandering Ways WANDERING WAYS, and you put that in there, boom, you're getting a discount.
Along with all of these cool parks that we've been going through, before we get to their number one, their top pick, we have to do my favorite segment, because duh, and that's cool shit in nature. So this week for cool shit in nature, I think I have a couple cool ones.
Yeah, I hope you do. I mean, if you don't, it's all right. It happens. Life goes on.
Yeah, first one here though. You actually, I think, sent this to me. So
Well, probably. I sent some good stuff to you.
yeah, but it is this I think sheep hightailing. I mean, full on speed down this
right there. He just like, he jumps like 30 feet in distance just by like the drop, right? Watch out here. He gets some speed and jumps off this ledge. Boom. And he's loving it too. Probably like knowing that an avalanche is going to happen within the next hour and booking it out of there.
It is kind of crazy because I mean he is like booking it.
Or maybe it's hunting season for those guys and he saw the hiker and was like, bye.
Maybe. I mean, they're pretty high up in altitude. Like it's kind of amazing to see a critter that high up, like
right?
that large of a critter.
Yeah, but the goat, sheep that it is, or whatever,
Yeah.
That's what they do. Look at it. It's just gone. Just a dot.
Oh, I know. That thing, I bet you that thing's going close to like 40 miles per hour downhill.
Yeah, at least 12.
Yeah, at least. I love how he almost eats shit though. You can see like the back legs after he makes the big jump.
Oh yeah, right here.
Boom, he like almost eats shit right there.
Go to the left, yeah.
Yeah. But no, that's the first one. And the second one is a time lapse of a caterpillar getting turned into a butterfly, which is always a super cool thing that nature does. And so to see it in a time lapse mode is always cool because this takes like days normally. So
yeah, no, I mean it's a process for sure. And it's crazy how like big they get and what they become at the end and what like the cocoon and all that. And
I know it is kind of crazy that there's something in this world that puts itself in a shell like that.
Well, and it's just like it's interesting how like different, like that's it's growing its wings at that point.
Yeah, right. And so
doing all this cool stuff. But
100%.
That's cool shit in nature for you, just like that. Just some cool stuff. And if you guys are listening on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you're listening to this at, and you didn't see the cool shit in nature, just Google something cool.
Yeah.
You can join along and just add our commentary as you're like on your phone. You can just be like, oh yeah, like you're watching the Pittsburgh Steelers, Miami Dolphins play each other, and you all of a sudden you just put our beautiful words over there. You're like, that is a beautiful cocoon they got going on.
Because when you're watching your American football game, thoughts come into your head. You're like, it would be pretty sweet right now, seeing a good cocoon. But I dig it. I mean, shoot. It's cool.
Does that not come up to you? Does that not? I mean, I'm just saying.
I don't watch a whole lot of American football nowadays.
No, I know. I just said it's easy. It's easy to reference. I'm watching it right there, kind of, sort of. It's on the background.
There it is. He's watching American football as he's doing this. No, anyways, we're gonna continue chugging along with this. We're gonna go to their number one, which they've deemed as the best park through their ranking systems, coming in at a 48 out of 50. So no perfect scores for their ranking system here at number one. But this one's staying out west, all five out west. This one, 48 out of 50, Olympic National Park.
Well, they didn't camp in a tent in the rain. Well, I can tell you that much based on the rankings. No, accessibility 10 out of 10, recreation 10 out of 10, crowds 9 out of 10. You must not have gone on a holiday weekend into the Hoh rainforest because that line will have be backed up for hours. Amenities 9 out of 10. Yep, that park's kind of got it all. Scenery 10 out of 10. Again, you get the beautiful coast, you get the Hoh rainforest, you get the mountains, you get the lakes. Um, yeah, it's a pinnacle of the Northwest for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I see why they gave it their scores.
Right.
That 48 out of 50. I totally agree with it. I
The thing
have camped in Olympic in a tent in the rain, and I did not have as miserable a time as you. So it is
well,
possible to have a good time.
half the reason it was miserable was kind of like the the budgeting trip Matt was on with how he is with his money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like it was just like that and then water getting in the tent and then I need a new tent. So if you're out there and you know someone who's getting rid of a nice backpacking tent, just send it my way. Just
Hey,
postmark it Wandering Ways, Ranger Zach.
there
I
you
would love
go. We're in the market for a tent for Ranger Zach out there. But yeah, no, so Olympic number one, I see it. It's I think it's in my top five. I have to go back and listen to my top five parks. Maybe shoot, we should redo our top five parks that we've been to, because I think we've been to a couple new ones since we've done it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm down. I'm also I think you and I need to when we go to these parks, I'm just looking at the more than just national parks or more than just parks website here and seeing they have videos too on each one of these parks and kind of thinking, why aren't we out there? Why aren't we out there doing this? No.
That's what this is. These are our videos. We talk
I
about
know.
the parks on this. You can
I
watch it
know.
too. Check it us
I
out on
know.
YouTube. If you don't like the YouTube, listen to our voices. Plug us
Oh
in
my
while
gosh.
you're driving through these parks.
That's what I like. No, I like that. No, I like Olympic. I'm glad it makes it. It would get a 5 out of 5 or a 10 out of 10 on this list for Bigfoot parks as well.
Oh,
Uh,
100%.
I I like Olympic. I like how close it is to like the Oregon area. So getting up there is pretty easy for me. I also I just I don't know. I would much rather live in Washington and this area than Portland even personally.
Um, I mean, that's definitely a personal thing. I don't think you're wrong in thinking that. I don't know. Washington would be cool. It'd be different. I've just only really known Oregon and Northern California, so I'd do it for a new experience. Do I know if I
Okay,
like it? I don't know. Have to go and live there to find out.
that's
But
fair.
I mean,
That's
it's so close. I didn't realize how close this area was really until COVID, when I was back home in Seaside, and it was only a 3-hour drive up to Olympic National Park from Seaside. I was like, holy cats, that's way closer than I thought.
well, and that to me, right? Like looking at like like what you're saying, like the closeness and finding those parks. That's like the bighorns to me, where it's like shit, I lived here with my family for like 14 years before I really started going down to the actual Bighorn Mountains and exploring them further, whereas the, um, like, if I would have done that 12 years ago, it's like how much more time you would have spent down there, how many more things you would have done, what else you would have done.
Right?
Right. But that's life, right? And that's part of what you were saying earlier is like just get out and do it, just do it. Only you can look that person in the mirror and say, all right, guess I'm going to do this trip by myself.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes you just got to get in the car and go. Anyways, that's their top five. But I think what makes this website fun is they rank all 63 of them. So they go
It makes sense.
through.
They got a guide, they got a system, right? They got the recreation, the crowds, the amenities, the scenery, right? So they have a scoring platform, so you really can score each park, right? Um, Whereas like I don't see the personal opinion either in here, even, the like the wow, like the scenery, like
Yeah, the scenery is really the only thing that could be like personal take on it when it comes to
right,
that.
right.
So, but sometimes you don't need to make it personal. You need to make it more general, so that way people have a more general idea. We hope that we do that for you here at Wandering Ways, but we also like to think we throw in a little bit of our personalities into our top fives and understanding. If you like similar things to Ranger Zach or to myself, Reverend, then maybe you'll want to check out our favorite parks. If you're looking for a more general thing, more than parks is your place to go. But anyways, what's fun is they do have a last place, a 63rd place when it comes to these. And so I think that's always interesting to see what they deemed as the worst national park. And again, worst is in quotation marks, because it's like, what's really worst doesn't, what's that really mean in this?
Right. And I'm looking at the bottom three right here, right? So 61, there's 63 they rank, right? 61 is Kobuk Valley National Park in Alaska. And it got a score of 27 because it's zero accessibility, zero amenities.
Yeah.
The recreation's a 7. Makes sense. It's hard to get to, right? Hot Springs National Park in Arkansas got a 25.5. Its accessibility is a little hard to get there. Its recreation's pretty limited. Its crowds are pretty busy. Not a lot of amenities, not a lot of scenery, but it's the hot springs. It's more historic. And to me, like a hot springs national park, right? To me, I'm like, that's gonna go up my list. Maybe I like a good hot springs, but we get in here at 63, the last.
The worst national park, which ironically I've been to, and I have actually, I guess, making a point for why it's the worst national park here. I don't really count it as a national park.
Right.
When people ask me which ones have you been to, I don't think I've once counted it in the parks that I've visited. So
It,
that's saying something right there.
it's 62 acres.
Yeah, it's not very big. But
And it's, I don't know, it's interesting. I mean, it makes sense because of what it is and like how it's run and who runs it and how it's part of the Lewis and Clark Trail and that being national parks,
well, we
kind of,
should actually say what it is. We still haven't said what it is, and it's the
no.
Gateway Arch in St. Louis.
Yeah, no, and Thea actually, she just went out there for a bachelorette party not too long ago and enjoyed. They did that one day. They went to the Ozarks and they flew into St. Louis, and that they went to the Gateway Arch there. And you could take the elevator up it, which is kind of cool. It's a small kind of park there on the river, but it's more of what the symbolism of the park was for America and heading west. As a Native American, this is an interesting park to look at because it's almost that arch signifies manifest destiny and headed west and crossing that Missouri Mississippi River and trying to kill a people for what. So
I mean, there's some valid points. There's some
good.
valid
It's the last national park. No.
just more reasons for why why they've put it down there. More reasons for justifying their decision here, their rankings. But no, though, I gotta say, for their rankings, we didn't go through all 63 because we'd be here all day. But go check it out. Again, that website is morethanjustparks.com. They have a ton of information, but they also have the rankings on there, which is what's really fun about it. But start your own list, start your own ranking system, go out there, check out all these places. Maybe do some state parks, do list off the ranking of your state parks in your state. For all of our Virginia listeners, rank Virginia's state parks and send it our way. We always give me a reason to go to Virginia other than to say hi to all the wanderers.
Give us a reason to talk about your parks, and we will. You send us a list of your parks, we're going to dive into them. We're going to see what they're about. We're going to see, is it Wandering Ways worthy?
Most likely it is, unless it's the Gateway Arch. That seems to be one that might not, but even then it's still worthy.
I haven't been there, and it's on those lists of like, well, I gotta go to all the national parks.
Exactly, yeah. Maybe I'll start counting it in my list when I start listing off all the ones I've been to. I just need more of a reason to impress people with my number.
It's on the list of national parks as a federal listed park of the 64. It is, or whatever, it is one of the ones. So like, you should.
I would definitely get scratched off if I had one of those maps. But no, anyways, we're at that time. It is time for our final words. So I'm going to be that guy starting these final words off. My guy.
All right, my man. No, it was another great episode talking about national parks with you. I mean, you notice how we wander. We get into like, well, we should go here, maybe we should go to this park. This is what we need to do when we go to that park. It's the drive, it's the want, it's the need, it's the hunger for these parks, the adventures, the journeys, the explorations, all that happens. And it's just like you said, it starts by looking at that person in the mirror and saying, are we going to do this today, or are we going to do this tomorrow, or what? And figuring out what that is. Are you going to get the job done and be that person, be like, wow, like, be the little kid that looks at, or do you want to be the little kid that is like, wow, there's the guy that made it up the hill, or do you want to be the guy that made it up the hill, on the bike?
Fair.
What do you want to be in reality? So that's it. That's all I got. It's not a lot. I need to get to Yellowstone. I need to get you guys some stories. We need a Wandering Ways review of a park we need to go to. So, Reverend, figure it out.
I'm trying. Reverend's final words of wisdom. Stay beautiful. Everybody, I can't tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you for listening all the way through, listening to all of the episodes, listening, watching, however you are, checking out the Instagrams and all that, checking out the reels, all that fun stuff. Cardio season's coming for me. It's going to be outdoor time a lot more, so make sure you're checking that out. There'll be hopefully a lot more fun things coming down the pipeline with that kind of there. Giving some love to the Gateway Arch, maybe even Zach, because you love this park so much, I'm going to send you this postcard.
Oh, goody. No, I mean, that would be kind of cool. It's one of those things, right? It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so you can get up kind of high and see for miles and miles when you're up in it. So why not?
It's Midwest, you can see it out there. When you're out there, it's flat as hell. So, but that being said, peace out, everybody.
Bye.